What are we doing here? Now I gotta go babysit YouTube. I'll do that really quick and then we'll get started. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do today. Could do a new enemy, sure. We could do a new enemy. We could do who knows what. I could just start working on some random thing. I'm yeah. I'm inclined to want to try and do, I don't know. I don't know. Now it's dark in here. Why is it so dark? Here we go. Looks pretty good. I'm old. All right. Mm-hmm. We're committing some old code here real quick. I'm going to go ahead and push that out. We got our new speed code here. What did I just... I don't know. So my mind is... My mind has been all over the place, thinking about how to, I mean, because, you know, we're making this game. But I'm also thinking about, like, how do I, so I got to do that too. So how do I, there's money in Godot. And I don't mean from just the making the game side. Let's do, I'm going to add a bug, fix player, fixate, let's say that. Player direction. When bouncing. So we need to lock the player's movement direction when they're bouncing. So in the bouncing state, you're not allowed to, we don't even care about input. Well, maybe that's not the right directional input. So this is me. But I just feel like what I was saying about Godot is like, I feel like there's not a gravy train, but there's an opportunity with it and its upcoming growth. Because I believe if you do, what is it, Google compare searches, search phrases, trends, here we go. So if you do Godot engine and Unity engine, oh, it seems to know it. Unity game engine, Godot. Is it smart enough to know game engine? It does. Yeah. Godot Unity. So what happens if I search Godot engine and Unity? Come on. But you can see the trend line for Unity for whatever reason. It's definitely going downward. I do feel like there's going to be an inflection point. I didn't know it, but apparently Unity, they've sunsetted their, or they're getting ready to get rid of their netcode, but they don't have a replacement yet for people. Is that true? Yeah, so I'm working on the kind of the global speed settings here. We've got I've got a reference here called speed, and basically we can go speed.default, double, half, quadruple, and get those numbers automatically, and then we can change the values here. And then anything we base, if we base anything off of I'm in a different room now too. If we base anything off of these numbers here and do our math off of this, and we decide to change it, then it'll treat it like kind of a global change. So that's nice. And then in the code, that was kind of what I was talking about a while ago when I was talking about fixing things off of a certain speed and then stretching that so that even if we doubled the speed, that everything else sort of lines up with that doubling, so that if we have like puzzle rules based off of timings and things like that, it'll all still work. I've got this here. Something I learned yesterday is if you're going to do math if you do division against two integers in GDScript, you will not get a remainder. So if the answer is 0.5, you'll get 0 back. So I have to cast these numbers in floats and then perform the math on them to get the number I'm looking for. But animation play, you stretch the time based off of its time. So in the case of the player animation for bounce, it's 1 second. And then we do this math here to determine, because we want to make sure that the jump of the player goes over one length of a tile. And so we take the player's speed and we divide it by quadruple. And it seems to get us the number we want. So we stretch the playtime for the animation based off of that. In this case, the player speed is quadruple as well. So the number is 1, nothing changes. But if we were to reduce the player speed, then we get that stretching that we want. And say we went double, then the speed of the playback would be slower, and the bounce would then correctly stretch for what we needed it to be for that one space deal. There's other ways of doing this that I've been thinking about, but for now I'm going to stick with that. And but yeah, there's definitely other ways of doing the sort of the math that I'm talking about. Yeah, so that's kind of interesting little thing there. Let's see. But I'm feeling kind of. I was out in the sun a lot today. I'm feeling a little. Sun. What's the word when you're like tired from the sun? A little sun soaked. Remove. Debug. Here's our new reference. So we'll do. This is going to be working reference for global speed stuff. Sure. Camera 2D. Did I forget to? No, that's for Darren. What is this? Oh, it's some title data. We didn't care about that. And this was adjusting collision boundaries. All right. Push that out. But I do have a, what's wrong here? Failed to, for what? We're behind. Something tells me Darren just pushed something out. Because, yeah, he must have just pushed something out. Or that I forgot to pull. Huh. Cool. Test player 1. So I must have accidentally duplicated a scene. Yeah, so I'm feeling just a little, it feels like I'm acting like a stoner right now because I'm so tired from the sun. But I got a kiddie pool going for the kid. It was a big one. It took like an hour to fill up. And then of course it's too cold for him, and so I got to get an attachment for our sink. I think he's doing a little bit of work, yeah. He's been really busy outside of the game stuff. But the thing is like, okay, so let's do an enemy. We're going to do an enemy today. We'll keep our heads down. We'll keep going. Dodge and bob and weave. We just got to get off the beach. We're getting there. It's just, yeah. So let's look at some. I think I got some enemy ideas here. Typical Schultz fashion. I've been going for 15 minutes and feel like I have produced nothing. We do have this fixate player direction when bouncing. Let's move that aside. We have the note for it. Enemies. What did I have? Random movement uncertainty. What the hell am I supposed to do with that? Man, this camera angle is just not flattering. I just don't feel beautiful with this camera angle. So we're going to go higher. Way higher. So for my selfie angle. How do we... You know what's funny is now I feel like a radio podcaster guy. Thanks. I went to the doctor's. I haven't had a checkup in like a decade, and I'm getting old. I was like, I gotta go, and I was totally expecting the old proctology stuff for checking for prostate stuff, and no, apparently they're, at least according to my doctor, and now I'm gonna look it up because I'm like, really? They check that stuff through blood now, so they look for symptoms, and then no fingers up the butts anymore, at least according to this guy. A lot of false positives is what he was saying, and then they do all these testing and stuff, and it ends up being that statistically it's actually kind of a hindrance, apparently. I don't know if it's true or not, but yeah, they can check all that with blood now. So good to know. Good to know. So if my bathroom habits change, I'll let the doctor know, and then we can check. But apparently I'm pretty healthy, so that's good. Got to get my health insurance worked out too, because I'm going to hit 40, and then the rates are going to explode. Or not, life insurance. Sorry, life insurance. Jesus crud. There we go. How's that? There we go. That's all right. We're going to go with that. All right. So I had an enemy that kind of moved around randomly. Let's think of an enemy idea. What do you got for me? Because let's see. We got one that guards a corner. So that's pretty cool. And let's do something. Let's just move the guy down over here. No, that's not what we want to move. How do we do this? Shift and hold. Yeah. So we got that guy moved. And let's see what he does when he's over there. Oh, we bombed. We bombed. Did we bomb? What did we bomb on? Error. Invalid get index name on base null instance. Corner guard. Function physics process. Huh? All right, let's try this. Seems to be okay. Let's move him. Maze state. The hell is maze state doing here? Go back to the corner, man. Thank you. Save that. Hit play. Blah. Okay. Let's look at our code. We found a bug. Houston, we have a bug. Player area 2D. Player area 2D. Player area 2D. Oh, the collision is happening on an object that is not... No? What's the problem? Invalid get index name on base null instance. Go back to the game permits. Oh, now you put me on the spot. Are you working right now? Air quotes. Are you on the clock, so to speak? I guess if you're a contract labor, so long as you get the job done, right? You bill the hours. Let's see. So we'll do the old trick that I have. If there is an object and its name equals. So I'm going to fix the bug. Yes. Okay. Okay, so that works. So yeah, corner guard's doing his thing. Boing. Whoo. Now, not too bad, not too bad. I'm salary, so they got you working all kinds of hours. Whoa, we're out in wide open spaces. Bloop, 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 boop, 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 bloop, boop, boop. All right, so corner guard. Let's check my old notes in the old GitHub. Yeah, I'm just trying to come up with an idea right now. The old GitHub. You know, I got that Pac-Man machine behind me now. I should try and get this somehow positioned so that it's in the shot. There it is. Let me turn it on. There we go. An ambush enemy. I like that. Jesus! What is that? All right. Ambush enemy. Could be like a... something like a sewer. Ooh, this would be hard. So what if there were like manhole covers, and it was like a mole, like whack-a-mole, and so you'd have like, you just set up some manhole covers, and wherever there's a manhole cover, there's one enemy type that wherever there's manhole covers on the stage, he goes around and like shakes them up a little bit and then pops up and then like goes back under. Okay, so yeah, they would have to like rattle. Yeah, easy to miss if you're random. But that is an interesting... I mean, you could just have a guard on a route that you could set up, right? So we have this guard idea. And what happens if we put him out in the middle of nowhere? Is the game going to be able to handle that? Yeah, oh, it's very religious corner guard right there. That's pretty funny. That's a good spot for one. Wonder how would you? You'd have to kind of see if you brought him this way. How would you get there? Okay, and then you run. Go. So it is possible. And then you go like that. You go up here. Patrol. And maybe, okay, so for the patrol type, how about instead of having to set its patrol, so how, you know, how I cast these rays, basically when you set up an enemy as a patrol, you're associating its guard area with like this landmass here. So it's just going to patrol the landmass. And then you could do some interesting things where if you had it see in all directions, and if you go this way and it's over here, it chases you this way. And so you can change its direction, either going clockwise or counterclockwise based on whether or not it catches you. This is already really interesting right here, I got to say. This is like some interesting dynamic, some, possibilities with this. So, but even the timer of the waiting and all that, that's where I want to tie it to the speed of everything. So, starting to feel like maybe you need to empower the player with traps. So like you could lay a landmine or something and then blow up the bad guy. If there's, maybe you could have it where they could pick something up and it's a consumable, but they have to, they would be stuck using it. We do need to deal with that collision too. Okay. So yeah, just a basic guard I think is a good idea. So let's figure this out. Let's look at our situation. So if we have an enemy that we place down, so we've got a corner guard, we put it down. Right now, the logic of this enemy is that it figures out what directions it's looking in. Like we've got that locked in, so the level designer can just literally pop this down anywhere, and he knows that, okay, I put it here, so it's going to look this way, and up this way. So like that's pretty cool, right? So that makes that pretty straightforward. We'll add things to this corner guard so that it responds to certain things. Like maybe it does go over the bounce pads and it shoots it up in the air just like it would the player. And so yeah, you could have some pretty interesting things like with that. Yeah, so if we were to put down an enemy that patrols, however, we plop it down here, we would need to tell it what it's guarding. And so how do we... Yeah. That's kind of what I was thinking. Like it's kind of a scaredy cat. And maybe like the corner guard, it has an area, a place where it's like, I'm not going to go any further than this. And maybe the excuse for the corner guard is it's kind of like a Roomba and it like needs to go back to its charge pad basically. And it won't go further than a certain distance. So I'm trying to work my head through the code though. If we put this guard, like the patrol enemy, let's call it the patrol. So we have corner guard, patrol. We could call it just patrol. And you put it down. How does it know what to patrol unless we tell it? And how do we tell it? Now, I could write an algorithm. He said the words. The secret words. Algorithm. Yeah, I could write an algorithm that determines the singular spaces of the maze area, and then you pick which one. I could have it's a good clean way to do this. I mean, in theory, okay, so let's pretend like the corner guard is this guy. The rule could be, well, see, no, that could be anywhere. Like if he's down here, how does he know this is what I want him to guard and not the entire rest of the maze? Because this is what he would do. He'd patrol the whole maze if he happens to pick the wrong thing. And what if we had a scenario like this where there's two right next to each other and we put it here. That's a good idea too. We've got this freezer, and when it turns on, it sounds like somebody is inside of it scratching to get out. It's really weird. It's the creepiest noise. I mean, what we could do is just tell it. The only time you wouldn't be able to set it up properly is if you had it at an angle. But if you said, if you put this new enemy down and it has an option up here in an exported variable to the editor that said, you could tell it using vector up, down, or left or right. You could tell it where to look for the thing to guard, and then I could base the algorithm off of that so that it would go, okay, well, I'm going to guard whatever's below me, and then it would just check it and build its path based off of that object's stuff. Right. I agree. And then the other way to do it is to just build the things and say, okay, now put a story around it. Yeah. Right. I just don't think, even if we had that, So the only way this wouldn't work is if the enemy started here. Unless we had like left, right, up and down, and then bottom left. And if it was here, then it would you would say bottom left, and it would look here and then draw its guard path. Let's get started on this. I think I've got enough to chew on. So let's go stage editor enemies, and we're gonna say new script. We're gonna call this patrol, And it's going to inherit maze enemy. Template is empty. There's our new script. Let's open it up. And that's our starting point here. So we need to expose. So we're going to go tool. We're going to say exports. Guard. Location. And it's vector 2. And baby, you're a wild one. Because we could just, I have an idea. I've got an idea. Because I discovered that you could do something like this. Locations. And then you can have a function called locations. And then this does the algorithm and then populates the... Can we do drop down? I'm trying to remember for export. You could make a patrol point and place as many as you want to create the patrol path and then have the enemy keep those points in an array and just cycle through the array points back to the first point after the last. Yeah, so what I want to do is build that dynamically, though, so that the player has a known expectation, which is to say that if you watch the patrol, you'll figure out, like, if at first this is the first time you're encountering it, you wouldn't know, and it was just headed down, you wouldn't know if it was going to go left or right. And then once it went left, you'd go, oh, okay, it's patrolling this, like, area. What happens when it gets lost, though? That's interesting. Like, what if you could push it off of its path? The question then becomes... Can I do a drop down? So export int. So you can do enumeration. Can you do like a vect? Export var vector 3. So if I did export int and then we just did up down left and right. Let's get rid of this. What is it mad about that I'm not using it? Okay, so Let us give thanks. Lettuce. Lettuce. That's weird. Did I not? Okay, so we'll go ahead and associate that script then. Let's see. Load. Okay, save that. So now we're going to create a new enemy. So new scene, this one's going to be called Patrol. And it will be kinematic body 2D. We're going to attach our script to it right away. Is it kinematic body 2D? Maze enemy extends maze object. What is maze object? Kinematic body 2D. Okay, so kinematic body 2D. Create. Gonna go to patrol. Enemies patrol. Load. Save. Location. Guard location. Okay, so here we go. So we have up, down, left, right. That's what we want. We want that drop down. Give it to me. Give it to me. Up, down, left, right. And then we could do possibly bottom left, like down, like, so like bottom, right, bottom, left, top, right, top, left. Okay, and then I'll just take these enumerations and then I can go from there. So if we've got this guy, yeah, good. So I can easily draw its guard area that it's like touching based off that value. Now let's make a picture of a circle with a P in it, because that's going to be our enemy for now, because we're doing programmer art, which I know you're very familiar with. So do the red circle. The red circle sounds like some Marvel thing. And we'll go like this. I'm the red circle, and I have a mischievous plan. Problem with those movies is they keep upping the stakes, and then after a while comes boring. But I'm done. Like I don't know. I'm sort of done with superhero stuff. It's fun, but can't turn my brain off that much anymore. I just don't. You know, the thing for me, I never thought I'd be like this. I'll be totally honest, but I just don't have time to watch anything. Like, I don't know how anyone has time to watch anything. I'll be totally honest. The reason why I had brought up Stargate is because I was watching the show, and I was thinking about it just from, like, my wife and I, we watch like one hour TV at night, and we just have that show on. And the best season was season 4, in my opinion. That's when, like, the world building and everything was enough that they could have all these really interesting stories. And it was really interesting that there were a lot of political conflicts and control over. It was interesting. There was like black ops and things going on, and it was just really cool. But the most appealing thing about that show and the premise of it is the idea of the many worlds, where you can travel to many worlds. And like, I always wish the show would just like slow down and just go to a planet and show me what life is like there. But instead, the creation of the worlds was to serve to have an episode, basically. So, anyways, but the idea of that, like, discovery and stuff, that's where I started thinking about it from a game perspective. And I'm like, I do think that it would work better as a management sim, more so than like let's actually go to those places and shoot a bunch of people. Because ultimately that would be all that you would have in a game like that. But if it's more on the management side, then you say you're the general and you go, okay, I'm trying to protect our planet, and I need to acquire technology and information and intel and all that stuff to do that. And there's always a risk of sending a team out and losing them. And it would be from a real, like a true, like, commanding perspective where you're not going with them. And so, there's nothing you can really do except try to give orders that achieve a certain objective. I really think patrol points is the way to go. You can set up more complicated patrols that way. Well, that's what I'm actually trying to limit it. So that the player knows what to expect. If we did set up where you could like manually specify patrol points, we could do that. I would want some indication for the player to know what those patrol points are. So like some markings on the ground or something. But for now, I'm just figuring it's just going to circle one specific spot. And so it's just another obstacle that you have to avoid. I worry more complicated patrol pattern. I mean, we'll see. Regardless, like, because there's a couple ways to do the patrol thing too, where you could like, you could draw just a blanket shape, like a rectangle, and then whatever happens to be within the bounds of that rectangle is where it's going to try and like guard. But yeah, they're definitely, regardless of whatever we end up doing, there needs to be some indication to the player. Like if we always keep it around a thing, once they see it start to turn a specific direction, then the player knows, oh, okay, it's patrolling this thing, this shape right here. If the patrol pattern is more complicated than that, then we need to be able to communicate to the player what that space is that it would be patrolling somehow. So you could do things like the terrain could be worn or something like that. Well, yeah, I think it would be interesting from a management side is what I think. A lot of people would want to, like, I don't know if you've ever played like the XCOM games. But that was the only game that I really felt like gave you a sense of like sort of the what it was like to command, so that you felt responsible for the lives of the people that you were like sending out, because there was permanence to it and all that. But I like the idea of doing that, but completely abstracting it from the perspective of like a general, where you're reading reports and you're getting, like feedback from missions and stuff like that by going into a room and talking to the people that were there, and then making choices off of that kind of thing. And then ultimately like having a starboard where you're like seeing the new populated areas grow and new threats, and just trying to figure out how can you manage. Can you do something like through diplomacy? Can you order the team to try to resolve this issue in a diplomatic way, or do you use force? Because the tech they have is so necessary to defeat some other thing, some other place that's a threat, and to a neighboring ally. I think that would be really cool. And yeah, the many worlds thing allows you to do it from a roguelike perspective, where you can have a program on the code side. You can have like a randomness to the planets and the creation of them and the civilizations in them and things like that. So it could get really complicated really quick. But at first, I think if you just do like rock, paper, scissors logic to certain things, and then some probabilities, I think it could be really interesting. But every time I talk to somebody about this, they're always like, "Oh, and then you go there and you fight." And I'm like, "No. You just send the people out, and you're just time progresses in some manner, but then you discover what happens. They just by being at your sort of the command center, I guess, and then yeah, I don't know. I think it could be really interesting. Resource management, people management. It's like SimCity, but I don't know. I feel like it would be something cool. Yeah. So what was I doing? P. Really got distracted there. How do we type? How do we type? Man, insert text. Man, I'm sun. What do they call it? Sun something. P. Well, that's a dinky P. Good enough. This'll work. Here's our patrol guy. And we're gonna Pac-Man clone illustration files. We're gonna make a new folder and call it a sprite. But the other thing I was thinking about with like Godot is that it would be a good idea, if that was an engine that we were to continue to work in, to build like starter template project where we get how do I save? Sorry, give me a second. There we go. Then we create a new folder, call it enemies. And now we save patrol. Right. And you can do it in varying, like, so you can have flavor text, but then there's the base, like if it's rock, paper, scissors or something. Like Civilization has like 5 interlocking things, if I remember correctly, that all kind of affect each other in a rock, paper, scissors way. But yeah, say you had like, right. Yeah, you could have to come up with a way for like Civilization characteristics that you could layer to make interesting races to interact with. Yeah, totally agree. And the cool thing about it would be that if we did something like this, everyone would know. They would see it and they go, "Oh, Stargate," but then it wouldn't be called that, and they'd be like, "Oh, okay." But I've always wanted this. Like, I think that there would be some people that would be keen on that. I don't know how many people though, and how many were playing those games. But I think on its own though, it would work really good as a game idea too, because you can have that roguelike aspect to it, and I think that is really appealing. Miss Pac-Man clone, master project, graphics, ground, enemies. So we have patrol. Export. All right, so there's our graphic for it. All right, quick programmer arts. Let's add our sprite. But yeah, I don't know how much more time you've been able to spend with Godot. I don't know why. I just really like the engine. I am curious about how hard it is to do things like export to console and stuff like that. As far as I understand, it's standard like executable stuff. So you'd still need a dev kit and all that stuff, and you'd need to be doing some custom hooks. Everything, as I understand it, that you would need to adjust for it to work for doing exports for console, you would need to make a custom preset here and then plug in the different things that you need to give it for that specific console. So I believe it's totally possible because the project is open source, though. That is you're on, basically. But I have seen people successfully export to Xbox, so I know it's possible. Let's see. Texture load. I don't know why. I just feel like, I mean, you know, I run into problems when I'm using it and stuff like that, and part of it's ignorance, but I do feel like I can just keep going in this thing, and I'm not getting myself overwhelmed. It's got to count for something, right? All right, so there's our patrol. Need to turn on the filter for the import. So let's go back to graphics. There's a lot of like kookiness with it, though, just being that it's worked on by so many different people, for sure. Okay, so we've got our patrol enemy. Let's throw one in and start writing the code. We're gonna need a collision body. Let's do collision shape, and then we're gonna go new rectangle, and let's set it to, I believe I have it at 31 by 31 for everything. So we'll save that, and now we'll throw it in here. Let's do instance scene, patrol, bring it in. So there it is. How do I, oh, I gotta rename the, how do I make sure I just select it? Whoa. Okay. That's not what I wanted. Is it? Nope. Is it? Nope. Is it Alt? Alt! There it is. Alright, so W. But yeah, I do really like the, so let's do top left, and let's just make sure, the other thing I want to make sure is, here's what we'll do. Right, bottom right, left, bottom left. Top left. We'll do top first. W. Okay, good to know. It seems like you're picking it up pretty quick. What's like what kind of programming history do you have? Okay. Oh, gosh. Turning into an old man. I am considering getting a standing desk. We're at 1 hour. Okay, so there's our patrol. We're going to do top left. So here's something I've been trying to figure out. And that is, there's a way to, I want to make sure that, so what I want to try and do is, we're going to override draw. And the reason why I want to do this is I want it so that when we pick the patrol path, that it highlights the area that it's patrolling right here, but only in the editor. This is something I haven't figured out how to do yet, is to make sure that the draw only happens in here. I think I have the answer. I think you do it in what do they call it? Come on, man. It's right on the tip of my tongue. I know that the code for the tile map stuff has what I'm talking about. You scene tree, edited scene root. So this, so you only draw on the, is that possible? It's getting hot in here, guys. It's getting hot in here. Yeah, that it does. I presume you've also noticed how easy it is to translate anything in the API into C#. It's pretty much, the syntax is like identical. So like if you're wanting to, if you need the speed, then it's really easy to translate anything in the API into a C# equivalent. Yeah, I was doing GameMaker as well. I dropped that crap real quick because I had a background before that, and I know it's getting better, but I tried doing a game jam with some people, and the way that GameMaker does their like files and stuff, like sharing code in a repo, it is such a nightmare. It is a mess. It is a mess. There's a few things that we've had to learn, Darren and I, when it comes to the scene structure stuff in Godot, where we can kind of step on each other's toes if we're not careful. But besides that, if we're working on our own things, it's never a problem. It's just about the scene structure stuff. You want to make sure you structure how you're doing your scenes a certain way so that you're not like, you know, like that's why I've got this default scene concept, is because I'm working on, you know, we clone the default scene, then we build the stage, and then that way we're never bumping into each other. And I guess, you know, if we have a default stage, then we can have every possible enemy type on the board. Yeah, no, dude, we have a weirdly similar background. So I was like 12. So I was born in 81. So I was 12, and I remember, so I contacted my sister because I knew that she had my dad's old Apple II. He had an Apple IIe, and it was old. It was an old computer for the time, because this would have had to have been, if I was 12, it was 93 or 4. And Windows 95 wasn't out yet. But I was like, I want to program. God, I wish I had the right parents, man, because they would have pushed me in the right direction. I could have been whatever. Anyways, yeah, so I was had got the Apple II, went to the library because it's the only thing I could think to do, and started searching and ended up finding all of these books in the children's section for programming in BASIC. But it was like complicated stuff because it was talking about assembly as well, or computer, like assembly. And anyways, yeah, so I made like a Pac-Man clone. I figured out how to get the vector stuff going on the Apple II. And it's funny I mentioned Pac-Man clone because it's literally what I'm doing right now, come to think of it. But yeah, and then, we didn't have a computer for a long time. I had that, but I felt like an idiot. I actually kind of got made fun of. Yeah, it was in the children's section back when they were like actually trying to teach kids about computers. But it was funny because even at the time the books were really old, and it just so happened that because they were old and I was using this old computer, everything sort of lined up where I could actually figure out what I was doing. And I had the Apple IIe manual, and that thing was really like a really good resource. It had enough where you could kind of get going in BASIC. Yeah. And then it sort of went dark for a long time. The internet came into being as I was a teenager. And I just didn't see it as a possible thing that I would be able to do. And I was totally wrong. And I wish somebody had told me that, but nobody knew. So, yeah, so then it was a while, and then I started doing some web programming stuff and all that, and then GameMaker, and then came across Godot. When I was making the switch, I was looking at Unity, but there were some things about it that I wasn't. It was really the C stuff. I just didn't want to jump into C again, even though it's really not that bad. A C language, I should say. And yeah, I came across Godot and started messing around with it and really liked it. It has its limitations. I know that for sure. Especially with, it has its own quirks with its rendering and things like that. But every engine really does. But I found the documentation. I really like the documentation. Okay, so yeah, so let's avoid the draw thing that I'm talking about. We're just gonna have to trust that we're gonna figure this out. So we're gonna check against maze. So we've got our okay, so func on ready. We're gonna build where we are. So let's just print debug. Guard location and see what it gives us. It's going to give us a number. Get collider on null instance. Corner guard. Oh, because I'm in the way. Well, excuse me. Let's move out of the way then. Ooh. A lot of times, yeah. I think there are some what is this problem here? Okay, I think I know what's happening. Let's detach script, save again, run. Yeah, okay, so it's because I'm attaching the script here. But that's what we want. So I think it's because it's happening twice. That's, you know, and I'll be honest, I think that's one of the reasons why if you know exactly what it is you want to make for a game, starting from scratch isn't actually that too crazy. And then we'll detach the script here, and let's try running again, see what happens. Okay, so that fixes that. But now the corner guard has no... Let's go over to our corner guard code. There's our directions. There's our raise. What does that break it? Detach the script and we'll attach it here. Oops. Just to make sure. Attach. I will say, though, starting with basic really threw me off for a long time. And not having anyone to talk to about it didn't help. But it did take me a bit to wrap my head around not going to a specific line. I remember that being a thing where I'm like, what? Like... how does it know what I'm asking it to do if I'm not telling it explicitly where to go? Yeah, and then the idea of like calling functions. I probably went from the worst language to the worst language to the worst language because I went from basic, and I think the first programming language after that I dived into was Perl, which because it was the 90s, and that was a bad choice. Bad choice. And then I went to PHP in the 90s, which were also probably not the best idea. Null instance. Okay, let's... Excuse me. This is weird. get collider on base null instance in a null instance. Ray and rays get ray collision. For ray and rays. Collided object. Attempted to call function get collider on base null instance. So for some reason I can't do this. Even though our script is attached right here. All right, let's do break right at the start. We're gonna figure this out because we need the script to be running from inside the. What is going on here with the? Okay, let's close and reopen. But yeah, I'll be honest. I mean, wow. Hey, sweetie.
I did great on that thing a long time.
You did?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Just had to tell you.
You did?
Mhm.
Give me a hug.
I found it. What's this lock for?
Class. I'm building something for class for you.
Burgers
You want me to do burgers tonight? I can do that.
and corn.
Ooh, grilled corn?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sounds good to me. I love you. Are you going to go in the pool again?
Yeah.
We're gonna check it out.
Are you going to try?
Yeah.
All right. Want to say hi to everybody?
Hi.
Okay. I love you, sweetie.
Why is that still on?
I put it on in the background for it to be on in the background while I was doing this for people to see. Because I love it so much.
Alright,
She got dead.
Oh no! Miss Pac-Man.
So silly.
So silly. Alright, sweetie.
He's
You
not
go.
listening to what she's seeing.
Good luck in the pool. I thought of a way to maybe make a solar powered pump. And solar powered in the sense that it uses the sun's energy but does not use solar power to run. If I can get the water to siphon out and go back in, and then I can have a black thing wrapped around the hose, then theoretically it would heat the water as it's passing through the siphon, and then it would just help warm the water. I don't know if it would work. Yeah, that's the question. I don't know. I'll let them know you said hi. They want burgers. They're gonna want them burgers. Yeah, I'm just gonna restart Xcode because it seems like it's acting like something's up. Okay. And so we bomb out. An attempt to call get collider in base on null instance. And that would be our ray. So let's go and print our debug like this and see what our ray is. Null instance, that should not be the case. It's a child. Object null. Get ray collision. Ray collision, get ray collision. And we go through and we're doing from rays, which is this. So let's print out our rays. Print debug. Yeah, it's funny how our programming history is kind of kind of the same. At least a little bit of similarities. Yeah. Yeah, so getting into like the functional stuff. And yeah, objects null. They're all null. Why? Is it because it's being built? I think we need to do on ready because this is a pack scene. I think that's part of the problem. So let's go on ready, and that fixes it. I think that was it. I think that was it. Because now that we have the script being inside the pack scene, yeah, that fixed it. Okay. Cool. Well, that was pretty easy. And I just want to make sure that raise is not being called anywhere here. Does not appear to be. Okay, well that was easy. On ready, we can get rid of our. We don't have any echoing going on there, and now we can update the corner guard here, and the scene is also changed from that. And this is attaching corner guard script to packed scene. Okay. Let's push that out. Okay. And let's keep moving on what we were doing. So that was a little bit of a thing we got. Wait a minute. I failed you. What is this? Detach script. Save. Save. Let's run again. Hang on. We didn't fix it. Son of a biscuit. We didn't fix it. I mean, it's not crashing. It's not crashing. So our set cast to is wrong. Directions up. Find corner. So do we need to delay doing this? Let's go. Yeah, because this is a child. This is a child of Maze. Well, it's not a child of Maze, but it would come to exist before Maze does. Why does this matter? Because the script is packed in though. And what happens if I get rid of onReady again? Do we get that crash? We don't get a crash. All right, let's do a breakdown of find corner here. It never fires. Okay. Now I know. Now I know it's not. Hang on. Maybe, let me try. I'm going to add a new instance scene and another corner guard and see what it does. Oh, so it does attach the script. All right. Okay. So then, so I wasn't crazy. It's just that I manually detached the script. So it attaches the script. I just wanted to make, okay. All right, we're good. We're good. Instance corner. There we go. And you were saying W? W. And then we go like that. Now we run the scene. We get our collider issue. This is where we go on ready. Like that, and that fixes it. Yeah, okay. And then this happens. And then yeah, so now we should be good. Yeah, okay. Sorry about that. That was a weird segue I got myself into there. Okay, so yeah, so we were doing guard location. We need to expose the variables. Patrol. Guard location is top left. Okay, so for this guy, he's top left. Now, let's go back to what we were doing. Print debug. So we should be getting top left number for guard location, which is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is 5. Okay, so how about we build this in var locations, and we make it an array. An array. If we do an array, can we grab by? If we go by array. Let's see. Let's look up array. Boom. Okay, so let's go and build out vector 2 up. Down. Now, hang on. It is an integer, so I wouldn't be able to do this how I would normally do it. Left. Right. It's 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, that's... Why doesn't it start with 0? Whatever. So top right would be vector to something. And top left. So top right would be 1 minus 1. Top left would be minus 1, 1. Bottom right would be 1, 1. And bottom left would be minus 1, 1. Okay. Now we should be able to then go like this and go locations and go guard location minus 1. And this should get us the vector that correlates to our enumerated value. Let's hit that breakpoint on this. Guard location is 5. Locations, an array of 8. 4 would be top left. There it is. Okay. Oh, it's because I didn't run it in. Okay, so we got it. We got it, and I mean, the other thing I could do is just put in an empty vec2 to pad it like that, and then we don't have to do the math. Okay, so now we take that information and we're going to look for the maze corner here. So you got to go maze. It's our parent. So we go get parent. That's maze. And we could do like this. And it might already be happening. If we go maze enemy. Well, let's look at maze object really quick. Am I doing anything with parent? No. Okay, so we call it in here because it's not something we're using above anything else. So, and we'll do the, okay, I know. It's okay, don't worry. I'm getting there. So there's our maze. No need to call it that. And so we need to take our, we need to apply some math. So we need to take our total size, which is 128. Our center tile, it's right here. And we're going to shift from center by 32 twice. 128 off center. That'll get us up here. And then we can talk and ask for it there. So if we go position times location, our guard location. And then we say times 128. Let's see what we get. How are we doing on time? Not too bad. We got, oh, we get, oh, that is wrong. That is the wrong answer. Position, we need to add. It's some. Okay, let's do this again. Okay, I mean, that looks like a number. Sure. So we'll say that is a number. And we'll go okay. And then we'll go call this var protect starting point. And then we'll say maze map. Now it's world to map. And then we go like that. And it is a vec2. So let's move this print debug down here and print out what we get. We should get our good old friend our old friend that would be 32. Hang on a sec. 64. So off center 64. Really, we just want right here. So if we're 128, it would be 64. It would just be, oh, okay. Hang on. Sorry. Because of the collision mask. 64. Sure. So let's do 64. I mean, that would put us right in the middle there. Let's see what we get. And what we want is, what do we want? We want 1511. So the print debug should say 1511. And what we'll do is we'll hit pass right here so we don't leave before it happens. And on base null instance. Attempting to call. And that's because we're doing it on ready. And object null. All right, so I need to read more about onReady. Most assuredly. 1711. That is not right. 1711 is over here. So what are we getting with this? And let me double check the patrol. Top left after top right. -1, -1. Oh, we got the wrong one. Guard location 5. So 1, 2, 3. No, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it is starting from, so we don't need that. I don't know why I thought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, it is starting with 0. Okay. All right, so this should be closer to the truth. And we're getting 1511. Is that the number I was talking about? Let's go check. 1511. All right. And if we were to do, let's just change it real quick to top. Up. And okay. Semantics, but it's important for consistency. Now it should be 1611. That seems right. Let's double check. And 1611. Okay, so that is correct. All right, so we got our starting point. Now all we do is we write an algorithm that goes, give me this chunk. I want this chunky bit. So that's, I think where I'm going to leave it. Because I got to make some burgers. I'm going to go outside, relax. Dominic, I swear, I mean, dude, I don't know. I do feel like this is going to be done pretty quick. Like because if you consider how little time I'm able to put into this and how fast we're moving, I do feel like this is really good progress. You know, I'm hitting some weirdness every once in a while, and you know, just got to learn it and keep going. But it's moving pretty fast. And I think once I have enough of these elements, and then I go, okay, well, let's make something. I don't know. I just don't know. Yeah. Yeah, dude, it's tough. It's tough. When you get a kid, I mean, the funny thing is because of when my daughter was born, I wouldn't be able to put her in kindergarten until, yeah, exactly. I wouldn't be able to put her in kindergarten until next year. Well, no, not even, because she turns 5 next year, and then it would be the year after that. So I am, we're doing the homeschooling thing. That sucks up a lot of my free time. For sure. And I don't know how anybody does it. I'll be totally honest. Like, I just don't know. I mean, I get why dads aren't around. Like, if I was working a regular job, I would never see her. I would be putting her to bed, and then we'd have the weekends, and that would be it. So I'm really thankful for our situation. Because it's like, that's the blessing of it, is that I get to see her so much. But it just sucks because, like, I wish I could have been doing this my whole life. I'll be totally honest. That's why I was so thankful I found ways to, like, put it into my work, my day jobs. Yeah, gosh. I don't know, man. That's gotta hurt. Oh, man. I mean, you just be thankful for the time you got. I mean, the problem is like, part of it is like when I see her so much, it's kind of like living with anybody. You just start to, like, certain things start to, even though she's 4. But yeah. Like, try not to get on each other's nerves, I guess. Yeah, so we have our starting point, and then I'm just going to mull on this. I'll just chew on the fat of what's a good way to take and figure the pattern. How do I figure the route around the wall? I actually think it's pretty straightforward. I don't think I need to know anything else about this wall other than I start here, and then we'll have a default direction. Like, that might be another exposed variable where we just pick the direction it's going to go. And then we just travel along the wall, and as soon as we see that there's nothing here and there's nothing here, then we look up and we go, okay, so then we just draw the line, basically. So it should be pretty straightforward. Yeah, they do. They do. And that's the thing that, like, I wish I was a younger parent because I feel like I'm letting her down as far as playtime's concerned. Because she just wants me to, like, if I was chasing her for 4 hours, that would be her dream. And I can't. And I'm trying to, like, trick her and be like, oh, we got to do this yard stuff. And it's like fun adventure time, clean the yard. And she gets wise to that real quick. I'm blowing out the mic here. Let me lower the volume. Yeah, she she can tell when I'm being BSing her. All right, I'm gonna go. It was a nice stream. I don't feel like I did as much, but it is, like I said, it is becoming. It looks like it takes about 2 days for me, so about roughly, I would say 3 to 3.5 hours. So 3 to 3.5 hours, and I get a new enemy. 3 to 3.5 hours, I get a new obstacle. Then we start plugging these things in, And I really feel like we're getting closer to, okay, let's make a stage. Let's do something. So, and that's when, I don't know, I do feel like these systems will be able to do some really interesting stuff. Yeah, it's not worse, just different. Yeah, I do recall there was when we first got, when we first had her, and then, we went to Subway or something, and I saw this younger parent playing with his kid, and it was like totally different, like way more like rough housing and stuff like that, and I'm just like, man, I can't do that with mine. Yeah, it is different. I'm sure it would be different being younger. I do feel like there'd be other mistakes I would be making as a parent. It's, yeah. All right, let's get these. Let's get this patrol guy saved. What we've got, and get the graphics going in here, and our sprite and the test scene. So we'll go. Let's get that out of there. New enemy type patrol. Maybe the patrol isn't a good word for it. Maybe because like, I think your thinking is more correct in that it would be more like circle guard or circle something, because it would just be going around one specific thing. Patrol would definitely be, yeah, and the other thing it would be really easy to do is just have one that goes back and forth. That's pretty straightforward, and that could lead to some interesting stuff too. Because you know what this is starting to look like is I feel like I have more patience. I feel like I don't at the same time. I feel like I do get too angry sometimes with the kid. But I'm always talking to her about it. No matter what, I do not, like, if I get upset, I don't leave her in the dark. Like, we talk about it. I say, that wasn't okay. What you did wasn't so bad, but we need to, here's why I was upset, that kind of thing. And I do think that being younger, I wouldn't have been able to grasp being able to, I don't know. I don't think I would have been able to handle that better. I do think, I think patience, like, it's funny. I almost, talk about it some other time. It is amazing. The thing about having a kid is what you learn about yourself and what you learn about, like, it molds it like shape. It's up to you as a person, I suppose. But for me, it has been something that has shaped me for the better. And I think that, there's a lot of lessons in having a kid that you can't have any other way. Not even being a teacher, I don't think. And I do think that most parents learn chill. But then there is a kind of scared paranoia that can take over you as a parent. The think of the children mindset. All right. Have a good one, man. I'll just talk to you. I'll chat to you on offline. But I don't know why this stream is probably the most chill stream I've ever done. Like I said, I was just sun soaked. I was just like, we were out in the sun all day. It's made me sleepy. I'm like, well, let's just make something that goes around in a circle. We need to figure out. There's a bunch of stuff we need to figure out. All right, guys. Have a good night.